Church and Wellesley has long been the heart of Toronto's LGBTQ2S+ community. Over many decades, these streets and the businesses that line them have seen parades, parties, and protests. But with the devastating impact of COVID-19 on businesses across the city, many are wondering if Church Street as we know it will survive. For the second year in a row, Pride celebrations are virtual in the village due to COVID-19. But even if in-person gatherings were allowed, it wouldn't quite be like past years.
As many of our businesses are nightclubs, bars, and evening entertainment, lots of them have been shuttered completely.
It's an especially devastating blow as these very establishments have been sanctuaries for members of the LGBTQ2S+ community, places that offered a safe space unlike any other in Toronto. On the south end of Church and a little outside of the village, Club 120 spent more than a decade specializing in niche events. Parties like Rangeela that catered to the South Asian queer community were hard to come by.
People came from out of town, out of the country even, just to have the opportunity to dance to Bollywood music, or even what they would describe to me as wedding music, things that they had been going to since they were children, but to be able to dance to these songs that were so familiar to them in a queer environment.
The nightclub shuttered last year, an early victim of the pandemic. The rapid closure of these businesses have chipped away at the cultural fabric of the community. But even pre-COVID, the future of Church Street was in question. Those who love what it stands for angry at rising rents and the invasion of new developments. So is COVID the final blow? Even Clink doesn't think so.
I think there's always going to be a safe space in the village, regardless of how many clubs or bars are there.
Historically, people have been gambling and predicting, quote unquote, the death of the village now for decades. I think one of the reasons why Church Street continues to be a vibrant place is that people continue to choose to come to Church Street. We need to continue to support our small businesses on the main streets with significant government support so we can get them over that hump.
The Church Wellesley Village BIA is urging all levels of government to continue pandemic supports for businesses into next year as the recovery process slowly begins. And as for the threat of new developments, Hudspeth says the companies behind them have so far been open to feedback from the community about the kinds of spaces they want to see.
The village is an ongoing, changing, evolving entity. We'll be there for the community. I know the community will be there for us.
For City News, I'm Erica Natividad.